was
happened
doing
to us
a.
numerous times.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. All right. So your grandfather.
So my grandfather, when he went to Miami, he started opening up bars. He owned 3 bars in the what they call Little Havana,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a uh, dirty little dangerous little area in
Mm-hmm.
southwest of Miami.
You see that in the movies.
Yeah, it was probably Scarface and things like that. Yeah. And so yeah, so he did that, and that was basically the rest of his life right there, owning bars and stuff like that.
And your mother was there too?
Yeah, my mother was there before them, actually. They sent the kids over
Right, you
first.
said that. But did they live with the...
They lived with my grandmother's sister.
Okay, so they never
aunt.
lived with Dad. Your daughter's picture. Well, no, that's not a picture. An ugly baby. She's not an ugly baby.
Her, like the one that she's screaming. Mm-hmm. So I mean, she could get pretty ugly.
Yeah, kids crying like that when they're all soggy.
Yeah, but they look like aliens when they're little, when they're first born and all that. So some of those are earlier ones, like the green one where she looks almost like a little alien. Yeah, that's an earlier one. But yeah, I don't think any of them look like her.
What about your brother? Are they in the paintings too? You see at the paintings?
He is in a painting, but it didn't make it. It didn't make it to this show. It's
Didn't
another painting. Yeah, I mean, it's actually not a painting yet. It's a skin. It hasn't
And
made
do
it
you
to-
get along with your brother? Are you?
Generally, we used to fight a lot. We used to fight with almost no holds barred. I mean, we would really beat the crap out of each other. And I was bigger than him, so I would win most of the time. But
Well, you needed the male, with all the female energy. You had to let that male stuff
we
out.
both had a temper too. I had the temper that's kind of slow going. It takes a long time to fire up, but when it goes, it's really it's like a nuclear war. And his was more immediate, all the time. And so. Yeah, we got along half the time, and the other half we would. Every time my brother and I would come back from our dad's house, our dad would drive us with his wife to my grandmother's house at Sunday evening for us to get picked up and then go back to our home. It was clockwork every time we started World War III in the backseat of the car, and his wife would just be they're animals. They're animals, they're. And yeah, because I would kick him in the head, like I said, no holds barred.
Because that was how you got your feelings out, from the frustration.
We were probably frustrated after going to church and hearing this and that and the other, and then finally, and my brother especially, they treated me a little bit better than they treated him. He, for some reason or another, he was the younger one. He was skinny. I was the chubby little one, and
he was more the runt.
Yeah, he was the runt, and I was the fat one, right? And so, yeah, they were, you know, they would always make fun of his Spanish. They always call him the Chinese kid, you know, the Chino, right? Because they didn't understand what he was saying and stuff like that. So, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That transcends all these Spanish cultures, I think,
right,
you know?
right.
And so, yeah, he to this day, I think he still has a little bit of that in him. Like he didn't like that very much.
Where is he?
He's in Miami. He's in Miami. He was there for the funeral and everything. He tried his best, you know, with, you know, going to visit my dad and all that. And
Is he married?
yeah, he's married. He was married way before me. He's the older. Yeah, he's younger, but he's the older one. He's
older soul.
Yeah, I got married 7 years ago. He got married in '97.
And he's only a couple years younger than you?
He's 2.5 years younger.
Oh, so not much of a difference.
Not much of a difference. You know, he's taller than me. He's, you know, sometimes people think I'm younger because they, you know, he just looks older. He comes across as a little bit older. He's in the military too, so I'm sure that helped.
Made him a man.
Yeah. So yeah, he.
And is he an artist?
No, not at all. But he you know, he gets into creative things. He likes creative things. He gets into role-playing games. So he still does role-playing games. He's the game master, and so you have to be kind of, you know, you have to think 2 steps ahead of the players, because I don't know if you ever tried playing a role-playing game, like a paper and pencil role-playing game, like D&D.
No, no.
We used to play that. We used to play that when we were kids, and so he still plays it. I don't play it. I play board games, but he still plays it, and so he talks about, you know, making, you know, he can talk about creative things, but no, he doesn't know anything about art. He used to be into comics, but he's not into comics anymore.
But he appreciates your work.
He did. He does. He, you know, we've had arguments about what art is, because he doesn't understand it in the same way that you know, somebody who studied it and
right.
you know. And so, just this last Christmas, we were in Miami, and we were at my friend's house. He's a Brazilian. My best friend's Brazilian, and he's a very creative guy. He does music. He's a writer. He does photography and all that. And we were talking about the fact if photography was art or not. And well, I said, well, snapshots aren't. I mean, we got that everywhere. But yeah, of course, photography is artwork. And I you know, I came from SFAI, which, you know, is where Ansel Adams started the photography department there. So we had a strong tradition about photo at San Francisco Art Institute. And so I told him that. I said, well, you know, of course it's, you know, it's an art form. You know, just because it's a machine that's doing it, you've got to manipulate the machine a certain way. It's not easy. It's nowhere near easy. But he was convinced that it wasn't, and so we were arguing about that. And so yeah, in a lot of ways, he doesn't have the same ideas about art that, you know, the prevalent ideas, you know, because he, you know, and he will argue against it. He's into philosophy, so he'll find arguments why it isn't, you know. But yeah, in general, no, he's not really into art. I think he's not really. I don't think he thinks about it a lot or anything like that. So, but yeah, in general, we're pretty close nowadays. I like philosophy too. We both like history. He's a poli-sci major, so and he teaches middle school now, social studies. And yeah, we'll talk about history, because I know a fair bit about history and philosophy, and we can really get into that. Yeah, he appreciates the art. When I was showing him the dad skins when they were still skins back in June, you know, he really appreciated it. He said that he was very happy that I was doing that, because I felt bad that I wasn't in the funeral. I was the only sibling that wasn't there, and
oh, you didn't go to the funeral?
No, I didn't go. I had already gone to Miami the year before.
Oh, I see.
I couldn't go, so this is why I did this. You know,
this is a tribute in a way.
It kind of, yeah.
Well, it is a tribute, not even in a way. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's a dedication, and he you know, so he told me not to worry about it, not to, you know, feel bad that I didn't go, but yeah, I felt bad anyway. And so when I showed him the paintings in there, you know, they weren't paintings yet; they were still skins. He had some really positive comments, you know, about that. So, but yeah, you know, we're pretty close. Yeah, even though we used to fight a lot. I stopped fighting with him when he got into the Army, not because he got stronger and I was more afraid, although I'm sure that was a
well, yeah,
factor
he could have kicked your ass, yes.
He could have kicked my ass, right? He was in the infantry, right? So, no, it wasn't that, though. I really looked up to him after that. I thought, wow, my little brother is, you know, is an Army guy, and, you know, he started changing very quickly, you know, which I never had that happen. I grew up slowly, you know, so, you know, at the age of 27, when I went to grad school, I was still an idiot. And, you know, and I knew it. I had the at least I had the, you know, the reasoning capacity to know that I was still an idiot, right?
That you weren't mature enough yet.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, he grew up pretty fast, and so, yeah, I looked up to him, and we got along in a different way after that, I think. Although there were a couple of close calls.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of revert to your childhood sometimes with your siblings. I mean, that happens.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, but
that's what you know with them.
It's kind of rare. It's kind of rare. Yeah, so, but yeah, that's, did you have any questions? I talked a lot.
The 55, the tarot cards. You talked about numerology.
Numerology, yeah, and how it, you know.
You're saying that you're starting to believe, you didn't realize you actually believe in numerology.
I know I believed in it. The other day when I was answering you, I was just kind of like, well, I hadn't thought about it in a long time. I actually got a couple of new decks of tarot cards for last Christmas that my wife got me. And so that makes I got like, I don't know, 8 or 9 of these decks.
So you can you do the readings with the tarot cards?
I don't have the personality for it. I've seen my friend do it. My friend, the Brazilian guy I told you about, he's the one that got me into tarot cards, really, because he's the one that first got the Aleister Crowley one, and he's a magician. He's also a mentalist, you know, stage mentalist. So he's a jack of all trades. He does jazz. He's just written a horror novel that came out. It got published by a small publisher a couple of years ago. You know, he's done all kinds of things.
You're done.